Welcome to Networking Working, the podcast where real business stories meet meaningful connections. Brought to you by Business Matching UK, the UK's first business matching membership service with a business opportunity guarantee. Whether you're building something new, scaling something established, or just exploring smarter ways to move your business forward, you are in the right place.
Welcome back to Networking Working, the BMUK podcast. In this episode, we're joined by Mr. Keith Madeley MBE. Affectionately known as Mr. Yorkshire, Keith operates under this moniker for public speaking events, networking and contributing to charitable causes, including that of the Cones, children's educational books which communicate with children free from the constraints of culture, colour, race and religion. Welcome, Keith.
Lovely to be with you, Elisa.
Now, I'm sure trying to narrow down all that you do for this short episode will, quite rightly, be a bit of a task, but let's give it a crack. What does your business do and who do you help?
I think going back, we were independent financial advisors for about 30 years. And also, I became the chair of the Yorkshire Society, which I did for about 16 years. And I think that sort of gave me the Yorkshire title. Mr. Yorkshire. We sold the business in 2004 and I stayed on for a couple of years for the handover. But then I started to take roles like non-exec director, chairman of this and chairman of that. And it was a digital marketing agency that I was chairing in 2007. And they came in one day, one of the founders, and he said, "We've got you this domain name." And he showed me. I said, "I can't use that. Who does he think he is?" "You can, you will. And there is your website." And it went from there. So with Mr. Yorkshire, I tend to help companies lift the profile in the county. I also chair the Unity Club, which is based at the Knowledge Exchange at Leeds Beckett University in the centre of Leeds. And it gives business people the opportunity to meet in a professional surrounding. There are meeting rooms that they can use as well in there. And it's a great centre. In fact, yesterday, we had a Southeast India Trades Mission and with female entrepreneurs from India all set out with their stalls. It was quite amazing. I chair the Scott Creative Arts Foundation. That came because my wife's publisher, Rick, his wife is the founder of the Scott Creative Arts Foundation. And that was founded in 2016. A lovely couple who were artists in their own right in Yorkshire. And they're no children. And they asked Sue to come along. Eileen sadly passed, and then Michael said, "When anything happens to me, Sue, we're leaving the whole estate in trust. We want you to set up a charity for emerging artists in Yorkshire." And I took over just before COVID, would you believe? But we have an annual awards event. But the main activity really is the Cones Children's Educational Books, of which my wife is the author. And this is a long story, but we'll fast forward to 2014 when we met our current publisher. And he, like us, just fell in love with the idea. And then I was very conscious that children's books, it's a very competitive market. And I said, "Shall we do something different, Rick? And I've got all these connections. Why don't we get the book sponsored by Corporate UK? And the ability for them to get their message over to mainly primary school children, ideally ages 6 to about 11. And a little bit of a smile from our publisher. So a few days later, came back and said, "Rick, book number 1, Jaguar Cars and Q Park." And they did book number 1. And then from there, it became somewhat easier because if you've got a model and you can show people it works, they want to be part of that. Then we're just so excited that we published book 26, and this was with Persimmon Homes, the house builder, and we got confirmation yesterday that their head of comms in Scotland has spoken to, would you believe, no less, the Lord Provost of Glasgow, who has agreed to host the launch underneath the statue of the Duke of Wellington with his cone on his head. You couldn't really invent that, could you? And book 25, which was launched in November in Bradford City Hall, and as a Bradfordian, it was quite amazing to witness that. And that book, the order was 52,520 books. And it was Balfour Beatty and the council came together. And every primary school child in Bradford had a book before Christmas.
How did you first get involved with BMUK and what drew you to the community?
I got a telephone call from Paul, and somebody in Newcastle who knew me quite well said, "You need to work with Mr. Yorkshire if you launch it in Leeds." And Paul rang me and explained the model, and I thought, what a super idea. Something a little bit different. And I always say to people, when you go to an event, don't immediately think you're going to get some connection from it. You have got to keep going and meeting people. It's rare that somebody will do business straight away, unless you're recommended to them. And I thought, it's different. Yes, I have a lot on, but I think I like to help this chap to get this going.
This episode of Networking Working is brought to you by Business Matching UK, the UK's first business matching membership service with a business opportunity guarantee. If you're tired of turning up to networking events that lead nowhere, BMUK guarantees to offer something different. Structured, supported, and strategically driven business development, designed to connect the right people in the right way at the right time. With a blend of face-to-face and online meetings, plus 7 unique mechanisms, BMUK guarantees real business opportunities, and that guarantee is the cornerstone of what makes us different. Stop chasing leads and referrals. Start matching with meaningful opportunities. Register your interest today at www.business-matching.co.uk. Business Matching UK. Matching ambition with opportunity.
How do you see BMUK supporting your future growth?
I think the difference with BMUK, you go to a network group, and there are many, as we know, and usually it's left up to you to meet people and try and get some business leads. What I found with Paul, he is amazing at the number of people he meets, and he's just got that natural ability to say, you need to speak to. And that, I think, is the big difference of BMUK. And my inbox is continually full. I love it. And I had a super meeting with a woman in South London who we'd met. And she'd grown up in construction. Her father had a construction company. And she just said, let's have a meeting. Very productive.
I know who you're talking about. And that is Michelle Carr, who also has a podcast produced by myself, which is Taking the Con Out of Construction. There we go. So please do listen to her podcast as well, Keith.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're doing everything. We've got one on recycling food, but it's the construction companies, the Balfour Beaches, Persimmon, Langer Rock, who are trying to get a message over. There's going to be an acute shortage of people going into construction if something's not done about it.
Yeah.
And there's a particular emphasis on attracting young women into construction. There's some super jobs for them, but we've got to get over that old adage, haven't we, that, construction's for men. It's not.
Yeah.
There are some brilliant jobs for women, and that's a message that's within the storylines on a regular basis.
Absolutely. How does networking within BMUK differ from other networking experiences you've had?
Paul is a great leader, and when you go to the events, he's got that ability to pick on someone who's got a story to tell. And then he'll match you all with different people on the different tables. And I always come away thinking that was time well spent. Where sometimes you come away and you think, oh, that was a waste of time. With BMUK, it's not. There's always something, and there's always something to do after you leave the meeting. The model of one group per city, or in future maybe town, rather than we've got that group in Leeds, now we'll have another group. That, to me, is a very strong message. So any company wanting to join, you need to do it if you're interested and not dilly-dally.
Spaces are limited, quite right.
Yeah.
Who are you looking to hear from, Keith?
My main activity is really the Cones books. And it's so satisfying to go into a school with Chris. In that situation, she's the author. She reads the books. I get the opportunity to sit back and then listen to the questions from the children. And you come away almost in tears. And some of these children have never had a book. And our corporate partners, every child gets a book. And we went to one launch in Barnsley, And there were 30 children in the class. And the teacher said to Chris, that little girl there, she's had 6 different homes in the last year and only owns what she stands up in. And she had this book and she cuddled it to her chest. It was just so magic. And we came away and we said it's worth everything we're doing to make this difference.
Definitely for this digital age, making sure that children still get physical books is extremely
Yes.
important.
I read an article, I think it was last week, Her Majesty Queen Camilla has come out very strongly in actual books. We should be promoting, wherever we can, books for children.
Yeah.
We also work with quite a few of the universities. Leeds Trinity University animated our first railway book, Cones on the Rails, and we're now working with them on Cones board game and also a digital game. So we've got 2 people working with at the university and both complement each other.
How can people find you and your company?
My email is keith@mryorkshire.com, which is very easy. The other one is keith@theconesbooks.co.uk. On LinkedIn, there's only Keith Madeley MBE. So if you put that in, I come up. And I'm a passionate user of LinkedIn. I think it's given me so many introductions, particularly for the Cones books. I mean, recently read an article where the chief executive of Ofgem was talking about a new power line from Peterhead down to Selby to Tracks with the National Grid. And I looked on LinkedIn, there the chap was, sent him a message, gave him the website. He came back, this is the chief exec of Ofgem, with his mobile number. We had a lovely chat on the telephone. He's got a 7 and a 5-year-old boy who have now got the Cones books. Now, obviously, they couldn't do a book as a regulator, but it was good to speak to National Grid and say, the chief executive of your regulator thinks this is a good idea. So it's just looking for these opportunities. Obviously, I've got a website, mryorkshire.com. We've got the conesbooks.co.uk website. And I always have my mobile number on my emails. So if anybody emails me, there are my contact details.
If BMUK were a single tool in your desert island survival kit for business, what would that tool be and why?
I would hopefully feel there's a communication tool in there, because BMUK is excellent at communicating. And therefore, if there's a communication tool, I would hope I could use that to get a message out. Come and save me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Keith. So many wonderful things that you're involved with. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
It's an absolute pleasure.
If today's episode gave you fresh insight, a practical takeaway, or simply something to think about, hit follow, leave us a rating or review, and share the episode with someone else navigating the same landscape. Networking Working is powered by Business Matching UK, a movement changing the way businesses connect, collaborate, and grow. If you're ready to take a more strategic, supported approach to your business development, one that's built on strategy, not chance, then BMUK is what you didn't know you needed. Visit www.business-matching.co.uk to explore more and register your interest.
The information in this podcast is for general guidance and entertainment purposes only. The Networking Working podcast shares ideas and experiences to inspire and inform, and we believe they can be valuable, but they may only reflect part of your own business journey. We always recommend seeking independent advice and using your own judgment to decide what's right for your business. We encourage you to do your own research before making any decisions. The opinions in this episode are our own and those of our guests, and we do our best to ensure the content is accurate and relevant at the time of recording. If you have any questions or would like to continue the conversation, you can reach us at info@business-matching.co.uk. Thank you for listening.